expecting the coffee video with like the cat randomly thrown in there. But hey, we are live, and this is the fantasy overtime. We answer your questions. I'm Zach Lyons. He's Justin Graver. This is going to be a great day because it's Jags day. Screw the Jags, and we got the Titans playing. Derrick Henry, let's go. And we are ready to take some questions. But before we get into some questions, let's talk about Kickoff 30. Justin, 30% off lifetime memberships for Broadway Media. Tell the people what they get with Broadway Media.
BroadwaySportsMedia.com. You can get 30% off your premium membership right now, which gives you the All 22 review, which doesn't have footage, but still has insane analysis from Mike Herndon. Mike Miracles, probably the best Titans analyst I've ever read anything by, and Bill Superhornot, who is the OG Titans film breakdown guy. Those guys are reviewing the All-22 every week. I'm doing a scouting the opponent, look-ahead piece. Ryan Watson, former offensive and defensive line coach, gives us his perspective of the in the trenches. We also got the Broadway breakdown whiteboard videos I'll be putting out each week. I don't know how you can do better than BroadwaySportsMedia.com. And this special promotion, Kickoff 30, ends today at 12 p.m. Central Time.
And don't forget about all the free content we have, too. We have free message boards. We have free articles, fantasy articles, DFS articles, gambling articles. We have all kinds of free stuff. This website is everything you need for the Titans and for Nashville sports. We got Predators. We got the Nashville Soccer Club. We got it all. I think we're even trying to come out with a cookbook. So let's get started with a real quick who's out, who's in. We'll go through. The most important thing is that it just broke right before we came on the air that Courtland Sutton will play today. That is a noon game. Make sure you have your lineup set. That means that your Noah Fant target share will go down. That means that your Jerry Jeudy target share will go down. Courtland Sutton is a must start. They play the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't really fear anything with rolling out Courtland Sutton. Go ahead and roll him out into your lineups. Who's out? Chris Godwin. Who does that affect? Most Tampa Bay. Tom Brady, maybe a little bit down because he seems to have a really good chemistry with Tom Brady, but we'll see. Michael Thomas. Drew Brees stock down. We saw that Drew Brees was looking a little rough in his start last week, and now his favorite target is gone that fits within his throwing profile. Drew Brees, cautiously roll out. Kenny Golladay is out. Quintez Cephas got 79% of snaps last week and 10 targets in his absence, and he got 60-something yards. There'll be a pass-happy offense today. Quintez Cephas is looking pretty good. George Kittle, out. That means Jimmy Garoppolo is down. I don't care about Mohamed Sanu. I don't care about Brandon Ayuk. Here's why. 79%. Jimmy Garoppolo has completed 79% of his passes since 2019 to George Kittle, or when he's targeted George Kittle. And now that target and safety blanket's gone. Jimmy Garoppolo, I know it's versus the Jets. They'll probably just run it all damn day. Do not start Jimmy Garoppolo. Golden Tate is in. Evan Ingram stock down. Duke Johnson is out. David Johnson stock up, obviously. And then Mohamed Sanu and Brandon Ayuk in. Dante Pettis probably down. Michael Pittman, Jack Doyle out. Paris Campbell up. Jamison Crowder out. Brashard Perryman, sneaky start this week if you have him.
And Chris Herndon.
Yes, Chris Herndon was another one. Then the code is Kickoff 30. Kickoff 30 is the code. Stefan Wisniewski and David DeCastro out. Steelers running backs not really feeling it versus Denver after we saw what they put Derrick Henry through plugging those lanes. 2 starting offensive linemen out. Not really feeling it. And they're talking about doing a running back by committee now because James Conner's injury, even though he's playing today. A.J. Brown out. Jonnu Smith way up. Jonnu Smith is a must-start tight end this week. Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano are out. Those are linebackers for the Buffalo Bills. Mike Gesicki in. Is it Gesicki or Gesicki? Who cares? Anyway, Philip Lindsay out. Melvin Gordon in. Because there ain't nobody behind him. Royce Freeman is just a guy. Robert Quinn. Everybody forgets that Robert Quinn is on the Chicago Bears defense. He is in. Saquon Barkley, Donald Jones, get him out of your lineup. I'm actually saying don't even start Saquon Barkley. Of course you start Saquon Barkley. But I wouldn't expect much of him. Daniel Jones definitely not starting. This is going to be an ugly game. Bears are for sure a lock to win this game. So, Justin, we don't have any questions rolling in, but we need questions, and we need people to share this show. So go over to the little 3 dots at the bottom, go to a little retweet, do it, whatever, get it out there. We need some fantasy questions. So, do you have any fantasy questions this week? What can we do for you?
Are you talking to me? Because
Yeah.
I'm torn between Terry McLaurin and DJ Moore, both guys who were kind of subpar last week, but we expected to have big target shares coming into this season. I think we could see bounce-back games. I'm worried about both matchups, though. Do you have any thoughts on Terry McLaurin and DJ Moore?
I think I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin over DJ Moore. That Tampa Bay defense is pretty good, and while Robbie Anderson looked really good, DJ Moore and Teddy Bridgewater looked out of sync, which was ironically very odd because DJ Moore seems like a Teddy Bridgewater kind of receiver. Very, very odd. Interesting news that just dropped that's Titans related, not necessarily fantasy related, is that Derek Roberson is out. He is inactive for today. So that means that they're rolling again with just 3 outside linebackers, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That is correct. 3 outside linebackers again this week. Clowney, Kamale Correa, and Harold Landry. So we'll see if Rashaan Evans can refrain from getting ejected this week because he might be used at that outside linebacker position on pass rush downs just to get some guys some rest if necessary. He's a versatile player, and last week he was lost after 12 snaps. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I definitely. It's very odd that he was fully healthy, fully practiced, and he's not playing. Just kind of crazy. We need your fantasy questions, DFS, gambling. We'll even do over/unders. We'll talk it all.
Yeah, here's my Broadway best bets this week. You could check out at BroadwaySportsMedia.com. But I like 3 overs in terms of point total. The Atlanta-Dallas game is everyone expects it to be high scoring, and so the over/under is a little high. It's especially gone up this morning. It's at 54 now. It was 53.5 yesterday. I think that goes over, though. I think that's going to be up and down the field. Neither of those teams can play defense, so I'm all in on the Atlanta-Dallas over. And I'm also all in on the Arizona-Washington over, which is a bit lower. It's at 46.5 right now. It was at 46 yesterday, which, again, 2 teams that want to play fast. These 2 teams were in the top 10 in plays per snap and total plays, or time to snap and total plays last week. So I like both those teams to go fast.
All right, we got some questions rolling in, and this is a really good question. This is from Griffin on Periscope. Emmanuel Sanders or Corey Davis? Now, Griffin, while we talk about this, if you could tell us if it's a PPR league, that'd be great. But what is your thoughts on Emmanuel Sanders versus Corey Davis?
Well, you would expect Emmanuel Sanders to get more targets with Michael Thomas out against a pretty suspect Las Vegas defense, but it doesn't necessarily work the same way with wide receivers as it does with running backs in terms of backups getting more share. So you could see Jared Cook and Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray get more touches instead of Michael Thomas, especially since Michael Thomas's specialty is running those underneath short routes. In the meantime, Corey Davis is a guy who had a great week last week, but when was the last time Corey Davis had 200-yard games in a row in the NFL? Never. When was Corey Davis's last 100-yard game before Monday night? 2018 against the Patriots. Corey Davis is inconsistent, and even though he's the only active, he's the number 1 clear receiver with A.J. Brown out, will the Titans need to throw a lot? So I don't know if I like Corey Davis. In non-PPR,
yeah,
you probably have a better chance of getting a touchdown with Emmanuel Sanders. Although in the red zone, they like to go to Kamara and they like to bring Taysom Hill in. That's a tough situation.
It's tough. I would probably, since it's non-PPR, lean Corey Davis. I don't know. It's really hard because both of them are going to be competing for those red zone targets. You got Kamara, Taysom Hill, then you have Derrick Henry, and you have Jonnu Smith. It's typically going to probably be a Derrick Henry game. If Tannehill throws above 25 passes, I would kind of be shocked.
That'd be bad for the Titans. That means things aren't going well.
But I would say that if you're in the red zone or 20 yards out, Tannehill was looking at Corey Davis even without A.J. Brown, A.J. Brown on the field. So now you're without A.J. Brown. I say, tighten up. Let's roll Corey Davis out there over Emmanuel Sanders. That one
You're
may
gonna-
not work out. That is not a 100% certified recommendation, but I lean Corey Davis 55%, Emmanuel Sanders 45%.
You're going to have way more fun if you play Corey Davis.
Yeah. Okay. We have a question from Justin on Periscope. Quintez Cephas, who we just talked about, or Jalen Reagor for wide receiver 3. He notes, I am obviously in a desperate situation here.
Were we alive when we were talking about Cephas?
Yeah, I did. Remember? Look.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
But we had a longer conversation off air about Quintez Cephas, who
Yes.
I believe the asker of this question interviewed pre-draft. I probably not playing. This is tough. Jalen Reagor probably has a better chance of scoring a long touchdown, but Quintez Cephas has a good shot at garbage time points if the Packers are just destroying the Lions there. So I probably would take the risk and roll Quintez Cephas in his second game ever.
I wish I would have done a little bit of research on Quintez Cephas before we did our sleeper picks, even though I'm very happy with Paris Campbell. But Quintez Cephas I would have switched to as my sleeper pick of the week. So I am saying roll out Quintez Cephas. Jalen Reagor only got the one catch last week, right? If I'm not mistaken.
A long one, but yes,
yeah.
only one.
It would be 10 targets for Quintez Cephas is huge. That 79% offensive snap count for Quintez Cephas is huge, and it's going to continue this week. It's going to be crazy. Go Quintez Cephas. Austin on Periscope says, longtime listener, first-time caller, Marvin Jones or Malcolm Brown in my flex PPR.
I like Marvin Jones. Malcolm Brown's not going to catch very many passes, so he has a better shot at getting a touchdown, but I think Marvin Jones with no Kenny Golladay, even though you just talked about Quintez Cephas, I mean, the Lions are going to throw the ball all over the field. So Cephas, Marvin Jones, I like both those guys as high plays this way. I'm starting Marvin Jones in a couple DFS lineups.
I think you would be safe either way. I would probably lean Malcolm Brown. I think we saw that Malcolm Brown was not the Malcolm Brown we've seen in years past, who looked slow and not explosive at all. And Cam Akers, I mean, he looks fine, but this is a Malcolm Brown backfield as far as I'm concerned until they tell us otherwise. I'm going Malcolm Brown. I think, I'm feeling it. I'm not feeling Marvin Jones against Jair Alexander. I'm just not feeling it. That Packers defense is a little underrated. It's sneaky good. Just not feeling it. I'm going to roll with Malcolm Brown. Safe bet that that he's going to get a plenty of opportunities to do something with the ball in his hand.
Let me say,
yeah.
I was just going to say, I think that if you need to swing for the fences, if you're playing against a good team and you think you'll need a lot of points, try to get that Marvin Jones. He has a better chance of catching a long touchdown or something. But if you just need like a safe 8 points, then I'd roll with Malcolm Brown.
Decent Heifner on Periscope says DJ Moore or Marquise Brown PPR. And I think we are both going to agree Marquise Brown. Going up against the Texans, start all the Ravens against the Texans as far as we're concerned, except for maybe this next question, even though I still lean Raven. PPR from the dude on Periscope, PPR standard scoring, Alexander Mattison or Mark Ingram?
Mark Ingram. I think J.K. Dobbins scoring 2 touchdowns last week, while I'm not going to say it was a fluke, but I don't think it's necessarily the game plan that J.K. Dobbins is going to touch the ball closer to the end zone and Mark Ingram isn't. Like, I think both of those guys have a chance of scoring every week. And this is a game to me that, I mean, we saw what Kansas City did to Houston. I think that Baltimore is similar in terms of their offensive firepower. They might even have a better defense. I think the Ravens are going to be able to run the ball a lot today. I would go Mark Ingram.
Yeah, I think you have to roll with Mark Ingram. He's the safer bet. Alexander Mattison is still a backup. Mark Ingram is technically not the backup yet. So I think you have to roll Mark Ingram out there. Last question unless another one pops in. So this could be your last chance to get in your questions. Michael Herndon, pick 2 of 3. Corey Davis, Christian Kirk, and Deontay Johnson. Now, how do you feel about that lineup that you have to pick 2 of them out of those 3 guys?
You must have good running backs or a great tight end or something, because those are late picks. But I'm not playing Christian Kirk in any format ever until he proves that he deserves to be played. Christian Kirk had 1 catch for 5 yards last week in a game that the Cardinals threw the ball a lot. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins came in and instantly took over the wide receiver 1 role. Larry Fitzgerald was out snapping, or at least out targeting Christian Kirk from my eye test. And even Dan Arnold had a better statistical receiving day. So Christian Kirk, give me a break. This guy's trash. He's like Taywan Taylor, who got put in a good offensive system. I watched every throw Kyler Murray made last year, and Christian Kirk jumped off the screen as terrible to me. So do not play Christian Kirk.
I agree. I have to play Christian Kirk in one of my leagues, but Corey Davis and Deontay Johnson are your safer plays. Christian Kirk got you a flat 0 last week, Mike. Flat 0. Do not trust Christian Kirk this week.
Couple more.
Nick, we got 2 more questions. So Pete Davis says Cortland Sutton or CeeDee Lamb. I lean Cortland Sutton because we already talked about him, that he's in. He's a must start. I know CeeDee Lamb plays against the Falcons, so that's really good. But let me say this. It's an Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott game today. That is a stack you should roll out there. They're going to sync back up, so that's what I'm going.
Thank you, Griffin, for the compliments in Periscope. And I'm going to say the opposite of what you said. I think Cortland Sutton going against that Steelers defense, not necessarily that the secondary is that good. I mean, they have a lot of talent in the secondary for sure, but that defensive line is so good. The Broncos' offensive line is not great. CeeDee Lamb should be in a humongous shootout, so I'm going to disagree. I don't think Cortland Sutton is a bad play by any means. He's probably going to have, a solid 80 yards or so, but I think CeeDee Lamb could be just that's a game that could be 30 to 40 or something. So I want every piece I can in that game.
Okay, we got Rodgers versus the Lions or Dak versus the Falcons.
You are in a great situation no matter who you play.
Yeah, I think you're safe either way. I wouldn't be struggling about that decision. Rodgers, we know that Coleman's out, Darius Slay's out, and Desmond Trufant is out. So, I mean, that's 3 quarterbacks in Detroit.
Well, Darius Slay's out.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Jeff
but
Okudah.
who's the other one that I'm thinking? Oh, Okudah is out. That's who replaced him. So that's still 3 defensive backs out for the Lions. I would just throw in Rodgers. But yeah. I mean, if you want to throw in Dak, hell, just which game are you going to watch? If you're going to watch one of the games, throw in the guy that you're going to be watching the game of.
Yeah. I do think there's a better chance that the Cowboys end up going run heavy than there is the Packers end up going run heavy. So I would probably play Rodgers as the safer play.
Last question, bathroom Ben or my Rod and my Stafford? This is from Mike. So Big Ben versus Matt Stafford from Mike Herndon as well.
That one is tough. I probably go Stafford and just bank on garbage time points or hope that he can keep it close. Stafford's record against the Packers actually is pretty good. I think he's won his last 5 of 6 or something like that meetings against Green Bay. So obviously different coaching staffs have come and gone through that span, but I think that Stafford has a good chance of scoring. Denver's defense is no joke. So, I mean, the Titans were able to move the ball a little bit, but you're probably safe with either one in that situation too. Stafford without Kenny Galladay is kind of tough. I don't know. Maybe you do go Big Ben.
Yeah, I think I am going to go... Man, that's tough too. I mean, that's kind of the same situation in the Rodgers Dak thing. Either one's going to be fine. Denver's all injured. Stafford is, like we said, is going to have to pass, but the Packers defense is healthier. I'm going to roll out Big Ben. Oh, last question. Sorry, we ignored a question apparently. James Robinson or Zach Moss in the flex PPR league?
It was not on purpose. I'm not playing James Robinson this week because I think the Titans have a much stouter defense than the Colts do. I do think that Zach Moss could get a ton of run, especially if the Bills get up to a lead, which I said last week, that he could be the guy that they want to break him into the NFL a little bit in the second half. He was the guy getting the most touches in the red zone last week at the goal line. We talked about this on the flex in the preseason that Devin Singletary did not get goal line carries last year, and that continued in week 1. It's all about a touchdown, especially in your flex position. So I think Zach Moss is a very safe play. He caught passes last week. He caught a touchdown, got goal line carries, and Miami's defense allowed Cam Newton to run all over them. Josh Allen's kind of similar to Cam Newton in terms of their ability to run and their strong arms that aren't super accurate. So I think that Miami, laid the blueprint down for Buffalo last week in that New England game. And
yeah, it's Zach Moss. I don't know what else to say. Obviously, this guy has never listened to the flex that's asking the question, and it's always Zach Moss. I mean, you want to root for a Jaguar while you're watching the Titans game? Come on, man. Zach Moss, always Zach Moss. We've been talking about it all the time. That will do it for the Fantasy Overtime. We got out of here in a crisp 20 minutes. That is really good. I'm Zach Lyons. This is Justin Graver, BroadwaySportsMedia.com. The Flex is on Thursdays. We have 2 fantasy articles, one on Thursday, one on Friday. We have use the discount code right there on the screen, Kickoff30 for 30% off your premium membership at Broadway Sports. It ends at noon today, noon Central Standard Time, the only time zone that matters. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Zach Lyons. This is Justin Graver, and this was the Fantasy Overtime.
Woo woo!